Chevy, Ford, and Ram have been screwing American truck buyers for years, and now their insane price gouging is finally catching up to them. Truck prices are out of control, and now dealerships are having to give massive discounts just to sell the trucks they have on the lot. Ford sales are so slow that Chevy just beat them. Ram still has 2023 model trucks on the lot, and Chevy keeps having to give almost $10,000 off MSRP just to get rid of their old inventory. The truck market is dying, and in today's video we're going to find out exactly why that's happening.
The Ram truck and Jeep brands are having a rough time in 2024. The average transaction price for a Jeep has gone up 58% in the last 5 years. Ram sales are so slow that some of the prices are dropping as much as 20% off of MSRP, and despite continued layoffs and low sales numbers, Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares' pay was increased by over 53% to a staggering $38 million just a few days ago. What's happening right now with Ram and Jeep could totally put them out of business. In 2018, the average transaction price for most Jeep SUVs was about $34,000. Fast forward to right now, and those prices have skyrocketed to a staggering $55,715. And I'm not just pulling these numbers out of thin air. Leading car comparison site CarEdge has been tracking these numbers for years. As Stellantis continues to raise prices, sales numbers just keep dropping.
Well, we are here like many times before again at Ram because tragically their sales are really terrible the first half of this year. They are down a crazy 19.5% compared to the same time last year. And last year I thought they were doing terribly, but this year, it's just getting worse when you couldn't think that it could get worse. It did. And unfortunately there's, again, two reasons why I think that this is happening. Here's a pretty basic white Ram e-Torque. As you can see, just some steel wheels, lots of plastic trim all over the place. Just as bare bones truck as you can get. It even has kind of a half cab on the rear, not quite a full cab like this one you see here. If you notice the difference with my hand, just the size of the back door. But this 2024 Tradesman 4x2, which is two-wheel drive, is probably the cheapest one that you can find. But the problem is it doesn't even have a full-size back seat like the rest of them on this lot. But this cheapo two-wheel drive half back door will run you $44,460. And when it's not even a full cab, that makes it a really tough sale compared to like a Ford where with some incentives you can get an XLT for like 45 grand. That just makes this a really hard decision. But what if you wanted to step up to the Ram that has a little higher trim level and the full-size back door and some big old honker and mirrors apparently? It jumps up really fast. Here's a 2025, actually, this is a brand new one, 1500 Bighorn crew cab, four-wheel drive, V8, Hurricane twin turbo engine. So it has the new twin turbo Hurricane engine, which people have been talking about, and there's been a lot of arguments. But this will run you $62,680, and it doesn't have leather or anything like that. This is about as bare bones of a 25 model as you can get from Ram. And the new 2025 model isn't really a huge improvement in interior design, or even the rest of the design of the truck is pretty much the same as the outgoing 23 and 24 models. So at the price point, it makes it kind of a tough decision when you're shopping around, especially from other brands like Chevy that's honestly kind of crushing it right now. And those are just like the bare bones minimum base prices of trucks that you can get. What if you wanted to step it up to something like this Rebel trim level, which has more of like a blackout package, nicer wheels and tires, and also steps up the interior quite a bit. I know I need one of those lens things, but right now this is just what we got. This is where the price jumps up significantly. So this is still a 2024 model, 4x4 with the V8 e-Torque engine and the annoying stop start. Don't get me started on that, I hate it. But that'll run you $70,080. And it doesn't stop there with the prices of the Ram trucks. They just keep creeping up higher and higher and higher as you go down the line. And here's an interesting thing. Ram is starting to get 25 models, because here's a 25 Ram Rebel, and we can compare the prices. They know they're selling slow because the MSRP actually did not really go up. So this 25 model, interesting enough, no more V8. We got the 3-liter Hurricane twin turbo, is $70,660. So Ram knows that they're having to give discounts on these prices, and that is a reflection in that they're doing one thing right, I think, that Ford isn't doing. And Ford, as you saw, went up on their MSRP. But as you can see, between the 24 Ram Rebel and the 25 Ram Rebel, the MSRPs are pretty much the same, even though it's 1 year newer. That's also going to make it harder, in my opinion, to sell that 2024 model when the 25 is the same price. The only difference being this Ram Rebel has the outgoing Hemi V8, and this one has the new twin turbo. So when you're making a decision between a 23 and 24, pretty sure it's going to come down to, do you want the V8 and probably a discount, or are you willing to risk it on a brand new engine when we know risking it on new engines for the first couple years is usually not the best decision? But what if a regular V8 or a twin turbo wasn't enough? What if you needed to step up on Ram to a heavy duty? That's where the prices just honestly sometimes make me crap my pants. So if you want this 2500 heavy duty Ram with a Cummins turbo diesel, it's gonna run you $86,450. And the price of them go even higher with this edition right here. This is the Night Crew Cab, a 2024 model, for $97,270. Ram has the most expensive high trim level trucks that you can find of any brand. I mean, walk the lots or watch more of my videos, and you'll just see how crazy these prices get, especially on the heavy duty trucks or something like the Ram TRX, but that's like on a whole nother level of truck. By the way, buy a used one, that's a better deal. Ford CEO Jim Farley is completely out of touch with the people who want to buy their trucks. Quality continues to go down, prices keep going up, and dealer lots are still stocked with overpriced 2023 models that most people can no longer afford. In Q1 of 2024, sales of the F-150 truck fell to a staggering 13% compared to the same time last year. Well, I'm here at Ford, and I'll tell you what, every time I look at Ford F-150 prices, I always get sticker shock, and every time I go, the MSRP is always higher. And for the 2024 models, that's no exception. But what really blows my mind is when I look at the Super Duty prices, and a lot of you have asked me, what about Super Duty prices? How much are those? So I want to take a quick peek at those real quick and then go back over to the regular F-150s to compare them to Ram and Chevy/GMC. But here is an F350 Limited with the 6.7 liter Power Stroke turbo diesel. And there's a couple of things that caught my attention about this one. First of all, it is a 2024 and it is $102,835 and pretty much all the bells and whistles that you could get on this truck. But what's interesting is that this $103,000 truck has a sold sign in it. So people with deep pockets and people who are financing at dumb interest rates, two opposite ends of the monetary salaried spectrum, as you could say it, are both driving the sales in the market. You have people with deep pockets that are willing to pay whatever it takes to get what they need. And then you have consumers that aren't as financially intelligent and they just also need a car or want a car, or like the lady at the beginning of this video, will just pay 10 to 14% interest on an $80,000 vehicle and just not care. But as far as Super Duties go, that $103,000 one was really on the high end of what these Super Duties run. So this is an STX F250 2024 model. That'll run you $61,320. And then we got an F350 over here. This is a Lariat F350, also a 2024. This will run you $88,390. So obviously, as you go up in trim level, as you go up in size of trucks, the prices just keep going up. But the interesting part is some of these F350 Super Duties are the same price as getting an F150, which kind of blows my mind. This white F250 STX right here has an MSRP of $60,060, but that's around what a new F-150, actually a little bit cheaper than the average price of an F-150 will cost you. There's a bunch of yellow tags in the windows, as you can see, going across the lot. So this F-350 Lariat right here has an MSRP of $87,395 with a discount of $4,838. And again, just like Chevy, they're discounting 2024 models, and we're at the beginning of the year, and usually you don't typically see new models being discounted. It's always at the end of the year when those discounts come through. And that just shows you that they are desperate to sell trucks, and they need to get them off the lot. But let's go see what's going on with the F-150s, because these also have a higher MSRP, but also more discount. So let's start on the low end. This is a 2024 XLT model, and it does have the 3.5 liter engine, and it looks like this will run you $61,315. And that's the problem that a lot of people are having with Ford. For an entry-level XLT, you know, these are lower trim levels. Sure, you can get an XL, but good luck finding one. But a lower trim level Ford is over $60,000, and it doesn't even have leather seats. But this one does have a big screen, so that's cool. But they are running discounts. You'll actually get almost $7,000 from Kendall, which is the dealership, and then a manufacturer rebate after sale of $1,750. That brings this down to $52,674. And that's what consumers are wanting to see. They're wanting to see the prices come down to make it more realistic of something that they actually want to buy. Now, these used to run in the 40s just a few years ago for an XLT model, even in the low 40s to mid 40s. So the prices on these are still inflated, are still high. And some of that is due to corporate greed. A smaller amount, in my opinion, is due to inflation. I think a lot of it just has to do with corporate greed, and people are just getting tired of that. But these F-150s do get a lot higher price. This is another XLT, that's an XLT, but I did find a Lariat right here in this red one here, and that's where the MSRPs really creep up. So this is a 2024 with the 3.5 liter, and you're looking at $72,570. But again, they do have a discount, bringing it down to $63,732, and the dealer's even offering $7,000 off, which most of the manufacturers give those incentives to the dealer to bring down the customer. Are those prices still high? Yeah, they are, but at least we're seeing some discounts. So the F-150 prices are high, but it looks like you have like $9,000 off on these Lariats. That was like $9,000 off of this silver one that you see right there, and that is really significant. But the one problem that I have with Ford, and this goes back to the smaller trucks like the Colorado that I talked about in the beginning of the video, is the Maverick that was supposed to be super cheap. So let me just show you the MSRP of a couple of these. None of these are really below $30,000. You've got this one right here, has an MSRP of $38,000. Get $1,000 off because it's a pretty popular truck, so they're not giving you as much. That's $37,840 for a tiny Lariat Ford Maverick. Now, what about one of these XLTs right here? Are they pushing below 30? Let's check out this blue one right here. And for a 2024 all-wheel drive XLT, you're looking at $32,320. And in the seat there's that $1,000 discount for $31,320. And that's on the lower end of these trucks. And the hard part is, like, nowadays you can't find a truck under 30 grand. It's almost impossible. And by the way, if you made it this far into the video and you really like it, obviously you made it this far, so you're interested in the information, please make sure you hit the like button on this video. It helps get this info to more people. And also subscribe to the channel so you see more updates from me on truck market, car market. I'm also gonna be doing some other fun things coming forward. So we've looked at all these row of new trucks here, and the Super Duty's way over there. But what will like a used F-150 run you? So I made it to Ford's used lot here in Meridian, and they really don't have very many F-150s. This is it for their used F-150s. Like, you've got a Lightning here, you've got this Tremor, you do have this STX, the silver one, and then you have this 2019 model King Ranch, which is one of the higher trim levels. And 2019 is also back when prices of the new F-150s were still somewhat sane. So let's just go and look at this Tremor real quick, because it looks like it is a 2023 model. Now, most of the new 24 Tremors are like 70 grand, but if you grab this 2023 model, you're looking at $56,424. And look at that, it's only 9,974 miles. So for a Tremor F-150, it looks like if you buy one that's just a year old, you'll save like $15,000 off of what the MSRP was. But then if you go to this STX model, this is a 2023 and it's only $46,484. But there is one caveat with this STX. That blue 2024 model that we were looking at was around the same price after the $9,000, almost $9,000 off from the MSRP. So if you're buying like a lower trim level 23, 24 F-150, it actually makes more sense to buy the newer one, because not only will you get that discount, it'll have no miles, and Ford does have like a lower interest rate from Ford Finance or whatever. I don't know, look into that if you want to buy one of these. But if you're buying a more expensive one, used might be better, but a lower trim level doesn't look like it's better, unless you're going all the way back to 2019 when prices started at a reasonable level. So this is a 2019 King Ranch with four-wheel drive, bed liner, shiny wheels, and pretty much at the time one of the highest levels that you could get for these. And this one's still pretty low at 41,499 miles. You're looking at a price of $45,424. And obviously the King Ranch had super nice interior back then, but you still get a big screen. So when it comes to used F-150s, it looks like you get better deals if you're buying a few years old at the higher trim level. But if you're buying 22, 23s used, you might as well get new with those discounts that you get. So I'm here at Chevy and GMC because they're actually, compared to Ford, have a over 3% increase in their sales when you combine the numbers of Chevy and GM together. And there's a few reasons why I think Chevy and GMC as having a really good start for the first 6 months of 2024. One of this is like personal opinion, the other is more factual. First off, I think the new Chevy body design looks really, really good, and dare I say, better looking than the Ford F-150. At least that's my personal opinion. I think the design is clean, it's modern at the same time, and when you get a nicer one, more like the ZR2 package with a lot of stuff blacked out, it just really looks kind of badass, in my opinion. And then the second thing that's more of a fact is, for what you get, Chevy is actually more of a bang for your buck than the current model Ford F-150. And one example is this higher trim level Silverado LT Trail Boss. This is more of like a trim level for off-roading and doing a lot of fun, crazy things in the dirt. But if you wanted to get like a higher trim level with the big screen and leather and all that stuff in a Ford F-150, that would run you about $78,000, but the MSRP of this Trail Boss right here is $70,955. But like all the dealers now trying to sell their truck, they have incentives. And the incentive on this actually blew my mind when I looked at the sticker. So remember, this MSRP is $70,955, but they have a big enough discount to where you could grab this for $62,705. And when you compare it to a similarly priced $62,000 F-150, I never thought I would say this, but it makes more sense to buy the Chevy. Now, again, I want to reiterate, I still think all these prices are crazy, but I'm just showing you what's here, what's out there, and then you can make any of these decisions for yourself. Now, there's also another Chevy that I think if you're looking for a new truck is a pretty good deal, and that's the Duramax diesel Chevy Z71 with the Trail Boss trim package. Because it's a less desirable one, and I think just because people are a little shy on the diesels, the MSRP of this is actually $56,525. But again, they have discounts on everything. Every 2024 model has pretty good discount. So you could pick up this customized Trail Boss with the Duramax diesel engine for $52,525, which if you look at that, you can then see why Chevy is doing so good. Chevy/GM, you know, they're the same, but this lot just has more Chevys than GMCs. And so here's a little social proof on why Chevy, and proof that Chevy is selling a lot of stuff really quickly. Colorado, sold. This Z71, sold, 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 and more sitting here waiting to put a sold sign on it. So with the prices and incentives and all that, you can easily see why Chevy is really increasing in sales. And honestly, it does kind of make sense. So for all you Chevy fans out there, you should probably be celebrating. And as you can see, 2024 truck prices are even higher, but you do have Chevy, GM, Ford giving some discounts clearly on the window. Ram, they do have some discounts, but they were on 2023s. I didn't see any on the 24s, and unfortunately they were closed, so I couldn't go inside and talk to anybody. So as far as discounts, I don't know if they have them or not, but these high prices combined with high interest rates are pretty much a big reason why a lot of buyers are holding on to what they got. They're not buying anything new right now, and they're just kind of waiting to see what happens.